Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, actually. We are waiting for a few more minutes because there is some issue on live.imsindia.com. So we are waiting for more participants to join in. So just allow us maybe 3-4 minutes more, and after that we'll start. Okay. Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible to all. Can you guys see me and hear me? You can just type on the chat box. Visible, audible. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we are here today to discuss on 5 steps to crack IPM Rohtak exam 2021. So this session is a part of our test taking strategy sessions, which we have been conducting for past few days. So you can watch similar sessions on NPAT, SCT, and IPM on our YouTube channel. So coming to today's session, so as you all know that IPM Rohtak exam is going to be conducted on 17th of July, 9 to 11 a.m. Meet the channel name would be, you can search for IMS space UG on YouTube and you will get it, or maybe Careers After 12, IMS Careers After 12, so you will get the channel. Okay. Okay, so before we proceed, let me just introduce myself. So my name is Advait Vasarikar, and I have done my BE and MMS from Mumbai University, and I'm a lead mentor in IMS Muller. So as you all know that IPM Rohtak exam is there on 17th of July in between 9 to 11 a.m. Hall tickets have been issued already. So in case you guys have not checked that, then I will request you to go to their website and please do check it. The admit card contains lots and lots of instructions, so you have to follow all of them. Also, the test is going to be conducted physically, so you guys have to reach out to center well within time at the stipulated reporting time, and you have to maintain all the safety precautions in view of this COVID-19. So do read that admit card very carefully, well in advance, so that if there are any things to be taken care from your side, you can do it. There should not be any last minute rush. Okay. All right. So I will take all your doubts at the end of the session. So meanwhile, if you guys have any specific doubt to the point that I'm discussing, you can still post it here on the chat box. If at all your doubt has gone unanswered, then please wait till the end of the session and ask me again. Okay. So shall we start? So are you all here? Shall we start, guys? Okay, thank you. So this is the test pattern at IPM Rohtak. So total there are 120 questions to be solved in 120 minutes. Important thing, there is a sectional time limit of 40 minutes per section. So each section, like Quant, LR and verbal ability, each section has 40 minutes ka time and 40 questions to be solved within that time. The sectional timing is going to be fixed. So that's one very important thing which you have to keep in mind, which is different from NPAT. So NPAT does not have sectional timing, so you have to take care of those sectional timings on your own. Here the timings are predefined. How it will affect, we'll look at it. Marking scheme is +4 -1, +4 for every correct answer, -1 for every wrong answer. Again, this is different from NPAT. So you guys have to keep this at the back of your mind, that if I go wrong, then the 1 mark will be deducted from my score. So it's not that you have to attempt each and every question. You have to be very selective about it. And the PI shortlisting criteria are the marks for the test are considered at 45%, and PI contains 15% weightage and past academics contain 40% weightage. So comprising of all these parameters, your final selection will happen. So it's not just the test, you also have to be good in your PI, personal interview, and your past academics should support you. So let's have a quick recap for let's have a quick recap for IPM 2020, IPM Rohtak 2020. The information is basically 45 minutes were given to you and 60 questions were asked in it. So last year the pattern was slightly changed because of pandemic. So because of pandemic, they did not want to go for the full length 2-hour test. So they reduced it to only 45 minutes and 60 questions. The marking scheme was still maintained at +4 -1. Now every section did not have exactly same number of questions. Like maths had 20 questions, LR had 16, and English had the rest of them. So it was different. The total number of test takers were 6,000. Out of those 6,000 students, around 5,000 were shortlisted for next round, that is personal interview or written ability test. But last year, there was slightly different criteria for selection. I mean, your test scores were definitely considered, but along with test scores, your 10th and 12th marks, they were also considered, in the sense, if at all you were not able to take the test, then 10th and 12th ke score ke basis pe also you were getting calls. This was specially for last year. So either you have to clear the test or your 10-12 marks should be good to get a PI or VAT call. But this was for last year. As of now, we are not expecting any such thing to happen. So we have to do good in the written test. That's the agenda for now. Okay. General category cutoff was 144 score out of 240. Now 60 questions, 4 marks each is 240 marks total. Out of that, only 144 was the cutoff. So you can imagine 144 is roughly around 55 to 60%. So you need not score out of marks. You do not need to score 80%, 90% marks. Even if you score bare minimum of 60%, you can still qualify for the next round. Okay. Last year, the weightage of entrance test was considered at 60%, whereas the other parts like PI, VAT, academics, and overall profile contained a weightage of 40%. This was for last year. Okay. Next, so important topics in maths last year were permutation combination and averages. So there were around 6 to 7 questions based on PNC and averages each. So you can imagine out of 20 questions, if 6-7 questions are based on PNC or averages, so how much importance IPM Rohtak had given to these two topics, you can imagine. 2 questions each for SICI, speed time distance, roots, indices, surds, and 1 question each for percentages and arithmetic progression. So these were the roughly important topics which were there for last year's IPM Rohtak. Now for this year, in last year also again in logical reasoning. In logical reasoning, there were 6 questions of linear arrangement, 2 questions of number series, 2 questions of symbol-based logic, 2 questions of family tree. So again, the majority of the chunk is covered in 3 to 4 topics only. Rest of them like visual reasoning, directions, coding, decoding, linear ordering, or puzzles, it was hardly one question each. So I need to put more focus on arrangement because there were 6 questions, and after arrangement, number series, symbol-based logic, family tree. Right? Whereas in case of English, it was linking sentences with the correct word. That is like part of vocabulary. So that was very much important. Then 2 questions each for fill in the blanks, analogies, idioms, synonyms, word meaning, spot the incorrect word usage, sentence correction, spot the error, and sentence completion. So you can see that apart from the first point, that is linking sentences with the correct word, rest of the topics were pretty evenly distributed in English last year. Okay. So in a nutshell, for IPM Rohtak 2020, the level of difficulty in Quant was like out of 20 questions, 12 questions were sitters. 4 questions were of medium difficulty level, maybe time consuming questions, and 4 questions were of high difficulty level or very lengthy questions, so better left alone type questions. Similar breakup was there for LR, that is out of 16, 9 questions were sitters and 4 were medium and 3 were difficult. So the perceived challenging sections which were there, that is Quant and LR, usually these are supposed to be tougher sections. So in these sections, there were around 60% sitter questions. Now, what is a sitter question? Sitter question is a direct question which is based on pretty simple, straightforward formula. You do not have to do anything in it. Just put the values in the formula and get the answer. You can just move on from this question within 30 seconds or maybe 40 seconds. And you can get accuracy of maybe 90 to 100%. So those are sitter questions, and such sitter questions were around 60%. Now you had seen that last year the cutoffs were also at around 60%. So the conclusion that we can draw here is even if I'm just focusing on sitter questions, I'm putting most of the focus on identifying them, solving them, and getting them right. Still, I do stand a very good chance to crack this exam. I just need to focus on the sitter questions. That's it. Maybe all of the sitter questions and one or two medium questions. Even if I leave all the difficult questions altogether, that's fine. Right? Okay. All right, Aryan, I'll show it at the end. Just remind me at the end. I'll show you the entire breakup once again. For IPM Rohtak 2019, the pattern was 120 questions, 120 minutes, which is the pattern that we are going to follow this year. 120 questions, 120 minutes. So there were around 6,000 test takers, and out of 6,000, PI VAT call getters were only 820. That's it. Only 820 students were shortlisted for PI or VAT, and the cutoff was at 256 out of 400. So, which is roughly again at 60-62%. So, in both the years, our observation was cutoff lies somewhere around 60%. Right? Cutoff lies somewhere around 60%. So I do not need to worry about answering each and every question. I will answer selectively and I will answer correctly. That's the goal. Okay. And in weightage for entrance test was 50% and overall profile weightage was considered as 50% in 2019. Okay. Yes, Keshav, that's right. So in 2019, the breakup was roughly like this: 5 questions each for speed, time, distance, work and effort, numbers, geometry, and 2-3 questions each for percentages, progressions, ratio, proportion, and ages and partnerships, and 1 question each for simple interest, profit and loss, trigonometry, functions, probability, coding, logarithm, and set theory. So this last part is containing only one question. So if you want to compare 2019 with 2020, so the important topics which are there in first 2 categories for both the exams would be roughly time, speed, distance, work and effort, geometry is there, progressions is there, percentages is important. So these topics are common in both the exams 2019 and 2020, which were considered to be important topics. Right? Okay. Logarithm is important. Yes, logarithm is important because Umang, in logarithm you have to hardly remember few formulas. 8 to 9 formulas are there. If you remember them, that's it. You can solve any question based on logarithm. Okay. Nishtha, no, sectional cutoff ke liye there is no communication from Rohtak so far. So until the time they have confirmed anything, we will assume that there are no sectional cutoffs. Okay. Important topics for reasoning in 2019 were 6 to 8 questions based on arrangement. So this is a common topic in 2020 also. There were 6 questions based on linear arrangement. Here also there are 6 to 8 questions based on arrangement. So all in all, I can go for a conclusion that arrangement is a pretty important topic for logical reasoning in IPM, especially IPM Rohtak. Okay. Then there were 3 to 4 questions each of data sufficiency, coding, decoding, input, output. See, one more key difference between 2019 and 2020 were the number of questions. 2020 had only 60 questions. So obviously in 2019, you are going to observe a much more variety of questions being asked. Right. So here If I look at third point, 2 questions each in visual reasoning, verbal analogy, implicit assumptions, number series, and the variable comparison. 2 questions each. And 1 question each for directions, family tree, Venn diagram, ages, clocks, and linear ordering. Srimukh, I'll answer that query at the end. Just ask me once again once I have completed the presentation. Important topics are in English are RCs. Now in 2019, there were around 7 to 10 questions based on RCs. 2 to 3 questions on antonym, synonym, analogies, idioms, and homonyms, correct word usage, and everything. So basically, again, English was pretty much spread out across the topics, but RCs were very much important. Now, what we are expecting now is the pattern for 2019 should be more or less similar to what we are going to have in 2021, because same number of questions. So we can expect something like this in this year also for all 3 sections. Okay. So level of difficulty, if we compare, then you can see that out of 40 questions, 25 were sitters in maths, 9 were medium, and 6 were difficult. Whereas in LR, 23 were sitters, 10 were medium, and 7 were difficult. So even if I leave these questions, still I'm solving 33 or 34 questions out of 40, which is more than 80%. So even if I don't touch any of the difficult level questions, I can still manage 80% of the questions. And out of those 80% of the questions, if I'm able to score above 60%, my job is done. Right? Okay. So one very important part here to be noted here was sitters were spread across topics. So sitters were not belonging to any particular topic, but they were spread across all the topics. And similar kind of thing we are expecting in 2021 also. The sitters could come from any topic. So you should not have any prejudice in your mind for any particular topic. Okay. Okay, so this was about level of difficulty. So let me come to strategies now. Okay. So the first strategy for IPM is you have to ensure that you take all the 10 online mock tests. IMS has given you a very good platform wherein you can practice these mock tests well in advance. So my recommendation, you attempt all the 10 mock tests. All the schedule, timetable, and everything is available on my IMS under the event section. So you log on to my IMS, go to the homepage, go to events. There will be a detailed section called as mock test schedule. So you click on it and you will get entire list of mock tests, not only for Rohtak, but for every exam. Okay. Now do question by question performance analysis in each section. Identify weak areas and revisit important questions in these solved mock tests. So not just solving the mock test, but also analyzing it is equally important. And why is analyzing important? Because unless and until you realize what was your mistake, how will you rectify it? And what kind of analysis am I talking about here? The analysis should be very much in-depth analysis. So, for example, let's say I'm analyzing 10 questions. Just let's say I'm analyzing 10 questions. out of these 10 questions, let's say I got 6 correct. Then incorrect questions were, let's say, 2 of them, and 2 questions were not attempted. So while I'm analyzing it, so I need to look at all the 10 questions. It's not that I will skip the 6 questions which I've got right. So how should I analyze them? The 6 questions I got right, I need to look at their solutions. I need to look at the time that I have taken for these questions, and I need to analyze that whether the time that I have given to these questions, is it justified? Was there any other approach to this question? Could I have done it in easier manner, in a faster approach, in a faster manner? So, or I just got it right by fluke. That is also a possibility. So, was I right conceptually, or I just got lucky over there? So I need to analyze on all these things for the correct questions. Now, obviously, for incorrect questions, since they are wrong, that means you have done some kind of error. Now, what is that error? So the error was maybe silly mistake. Silly mistake is like maybe you read the question wrong, or maybe you read one of the values wrong, or maybe you did a calculation mistake, or maybe you applied, you read it wrong and you applied wrong formula. So there could be lots of reasons for silly mistakes. So you need to identify, was it a silly mistake, or was it conceptual mistake or conceptual error? So conceptual mistake is something which we need to look at very critically. See, because silly mistakes, you already know what you did wrong, and I mean that was not your intention, but unfortunately it happened like that. So the only way to correct silly mistakes is pay careful attention to questions and pay careful attention while you are doing calculations. So that is the only thing which is going to improve your score as far as silly mistakes are concerned. But in terms of conceptual mistake, there is something wrong that you are doing. There is something wrong that you have not, maybe you have not understood it, or maybe you are applying it wrong every time. So these are the things that I need to revisit in terms of concept videos or classes, or maybe solved examples in the book. So I need to look at that concept again, get my doubts clarified, and then attempt the question again and get it right now. So I'm more worried about conceptual mistakes that you are making. See, if at all you are not able to clear out your conceptual mistakes, then at least these conceptual mistakes should move into these category. You need to at least realize that I have a doubt in this, or maybe I am doing something wrong, and move it to not attempted, so that at least your negative marking will not happen, right? So this is how you should do analysis. So how much time have I spent on every question? Was it justified, or I need to reduce it? Should I be strict on myself in terms of time limit, or should I be very much focused? Where exactly are my mistakes happening? You need to identify that. So that I mean by question analysis. And if at all you're spending, let's say, 2 hours on a mock test, then ideally you should spend 4 hours on analyzing it. That's when you will realize your mistakes, and that's when you will be able to rectify your mistakes. So double the time roughly. Okay. So what is a good score in initial mock tests? Nishtha, as we have just seen that our target is above 60%. So for starters, I would say you should score at least above 50%, and then slowly and eventually try to increase it beyond 60%. But half of the questions should be right even at your initial stages, right? Okay. So do question by question performance analysis, then watch the live concept class recordings if required. Now this if required part is especially for these conceptual mistakes which we are making. especially for these conceptual mistakes, right? Acha. Advanced maths concepts in particular, you need to revisit. You guys need, all of you need to, because IPM Rohtak there could be some questions based on advanced maths, and that is a topic that most of you guys are a little bit weak in. So you still have 10 days to go. You can watch all the class recordings for advanced maths in particular, and others if needed. Okay. This will also help you in preparing for IPM Indore, because IPM Indore may also there are lots of questions based on advanced maths, right? Okay, then watch 60 practice class recordings which are available on your live portal. So you can just go through them. It's not necessary that you have to watch it in the entire duration, as in you can just fast forward it, go to the important questions that you know. Just go to the question, go to the solution. In between, try on your own. If you are correct, then you don't need to watch the entire recording. Right? Guys, questions I'll answer at the end. Okay. Then second one is a special tip for quant section. Now in quant section, what I'll recommend is revise the concepts of time, speed, distance, work and effort, numbers, geometry, percentages, progressions, ratio proportion, ages and partnerships, and averages. These are the topics that you need to put more focus on. Revise all concepts of these, because we have seen that in the past, multiple questions have been asked from these topics. Right? Now, while having said that these topics are important, doesn't mean that other topics are not important. Other topics are also important. So that's why you should know at least the basic concepts of all other topics. Do not ignore any topic completely. See, that would be a big mistake if you're doing that. See, because there was one line in our previous question paper analysis that sitters were spread across the sections, spread across topics. That means the easy questions, the sitter questions, did not belong to any particular topic. And that's what the third point here says. Easy question can come from any topic. So do not have a negative or a preconceived notion about certain topics, that I'm not good in ratio proportion, or ratio proportion last time it was not there a lot, so maybe it won't be there at all. No, do not think like that. The sitter questions can come from any topic, and as we said, our complete focus should be on sitter questions. So first you have to get them right. After that, you can look at medium questions, and if the time still permits, then you can look at difficult questions. Now, even if the question belongs to a topic that you are not comfortable with, still you should not leave the question altogether, because the question could be of easy or medium difficulty level. So for example, let's say the question is based on simple interest, compound interest. You don't like the topic, but when you read the question, you realize that it's based on direct formula, PNR upon 100. I just put the values and I get the answer. My answer is also there in options. Then why to leave such questions? Just because you have a preconceived notion that I don't like this topic or it's difficult? No. The sitter questions could come from any topic, and that's the reason that you should know basic concepts of all the topics. And speed, time, distance, time and work effort. So the first point for all these topics, you should know all the concepts in depth. Okay. Karthik, that's what this slide says. So you can take a screenshot of this slide and go serially. The first point is what you need to put more focus on. Second point says all the basic concepts you should be aware, even if it is not from the above mentioned topics. Do not leave any topic completely ignored, and easy questions can come from any topic. So even if the question is from a topic which you are not comfortable with, do not directly skip without reading the question. Okay. Third one is reasoning section. So in reasoning section, logical reasoning section, practice linear and circular arrangement caselets. We have observed this again, that around 6 to 8 questions on each type of arrangement were there in last both years, right? So that's the most important topic, linear and circular arrangement. You have to practice this. Then data sufficiency, coding, decoding, a number series, input, output, ordering of objects. These type of questions also are equally important, just like your linear or circular arrangement questions. But what happens is, in case of linear or circular arrangement, if at all you're able to get the arrangement right, see, arrangement might take 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, but once you have got the arrangement right, then answering all 4, 5, 6 questions is hardly matter of a minute. So all your time will be spent in arranging them, but once the arrangement is done, all questions could be solved with 100% accuracy. So that's why the most important part is linear and circular arrangement in logical reasoning. Okay. Quite a few questions appeared from verbal reasoning in 2019. So verbal reasoning questions were like statement or conclusion or assumptions type of questions. Verbal analogy type of questions were there. So there is a good chance that we can expect similar verbal reasoning questions this time in logical reasoning, because we have exact same number of questions this year, 120 questions. Right? Garvit, doubts will be answered at the end. So just post your doubt once I have finished everything. Okay. Now, don't spend disproportionate time on any question. As in, this is a very critical point, guys. So what happens in these LR sets, like your linear or circular arrangement kind of sets? What happens is, many of you might get confident that yes, I know this set. Yes, I can do these type of questions. You start doing it, and somewhere in the middle, you realize that no, somewhere something is wrong. I'm not able to get it. But by the time you have spent maybe around 4 to 5 minutes on that question, and you are not ready to just let go of it, you have already invested on that question. Now you are not ready to move on. And trust me, guys, this problem, the ego part, this is very critical in exams like this. So if at all you are not able to get the question within the proportionate time, for example, a caselet of linear arrangement should not take more than 4 or 5 minutes. So if you are taking maybe 6, 7 minutes and still you have not reached till the end, then be harsh on yourself and move on. It's not worth it to spend more time on it when you're not getting anything out there. Okay. Solve the arrangement caselets in a time-bound manner. So while solving any such kind of caselet, just note down the time. If you're going beyond the threshold of maybe 5 minutes, then take a call that, am I reaching somewhere, or should I leave it all together and go to next set? You need to be harsh on yourself sometimes. Okay. Nishtha, at the end, questions at the end. Tip 4 is for English section. Now, English section can contain 300 to 350 word long RC passages. And to improve your performance in these reading comprehension passages, what we need is a good reading speed. So good reading speed, I'm sure you guys have already tried various techniques shared by our mentors time to time. Reading different kind of books or skimming through multiple techniques. I'm sure you guys have already practiced them. just one test taking strategy that I can suggest here is reading the question before the passage will actually help you in putting focused attention on the passage. So let's say you have read 3 questions, and let's say the first question is mentioning something about doctors. So you will look in the paragraph while you are skimming through the paragraph, whenever it says doctors, automatically there will be a trigger in your mind. There was a question based on doctors. Okay, here is doctors. Okay, let me read this part very carefully. Maybe I'll get the answer directly. So that kind of thing usually do happen. So reading the question before the actual passage will help you in finding out the answers quickly. Okay. Then, if vocabulary is your strength, then you need to attempt all direct vocabulary questions first. If at all vocabulary is your strength, then I will suggest that attempt all direct vocab questions first, and you will get plenty of them. Trust me, there were around 30% questions based on direct vocabulary in 2019. So if it is your strong suit, jump on it, solve all the questions. You will get a moral boost, and post that moral boost, you can solve RCs by providing them sufficient time. You will not be rushed through the RCs, right? Okay, if at all it is your biggest weakness, then maybe you need not attempt it at the first. So start from your strength. See, when you start from your strength, then you can get a little bit of confidence, which will help you in elevating your speed of solving questions, right? Okay. Next is grammar, the next most important area. And you may get questions on around the sentence correction, error spotting, etc. But the questions are one of questions, one or two questions everywhere. So the most important part is vocabulary and RC. You need to put most attention towards them. Okay. And last tip, during the test, what you should do. Now the test can start with any section. Please understand that they have not clarified on this thing that the test will start from which section. So it may be dependent on your luck, but whatever is happening for you will happen for everyone. So everyone is traveling in the same boat. So be assured. Now, one good thing over here is the sectional time limits are already defined. Okay, now I was getting a question regarding sectional time limits that in IMS mock sectional time limits was not there. Okay, I understand that. So maybe I'll ask our team at backend to just have a look at this issue. But to our knowledge, IPM Rohtak has already mentioned for sectional timings. So if at all, when you're attempting your next mock test and sectional time limits are still not there, I will suggest that you be harsh on yourself and set the time limits, like 40 minutes, then leave, 40 minutes, then leave, 40 minutes, then leave. So you decide that time limit and practice accordingly, if at all you're not able to access it with the time limits. Okay. Okay, thank you for the clarification, Umang. So first 5 mocks don't have the sectional time limit, but the rest of them do have. So if at all you have taken rest 5 mock tests, then you will realize, and if at all you still want to attempt first 5 mock tests, then be strict on yourself and put a tab on 40 minutes. So at the end of 40 minutes, switch over. At the end of 40 minutes, switch over. Okay. Now, within a section, your approach should be to read every question and then decide to do it immediately. Type A, or mark for later attempt. Type B, and leave it or proceed if you have no idea about it. Type C. So this categorization happens on certain merit points. For example, let's say you read a question in 15 to 20 seconds. After reading the question, you realize that I know this topic, I'm comfortable with this topic, I have solved questions in the past, and I usually get them right. So in such cases, what I do is I mark it as type A. So you need not literally write somewhere, but you should identify that question as type A question, and then attempt the question then and there itself, immediately. Type A. Now, there could be some questions which you have attempted in the past, but sometimes you have got them right, sometimes you have got them wrong. Or maybe after reading, you realize that the question could take some time to solve. It's a time consuming one. So, or maybe it's a topic which you're not comfortable with, but the calculation is not looking that lengthy. So in that case, maybe you can mark it as type B question. So these type B questions are the ones which ideally you should note down on the rough sheet that you're having. So you can just say type B, question number this, question number this, question number this. Why so? Because you can come back to these questions later on while attempting. Of course, you will also have an option to mark the question there itself. If at all that mark option you're not able to use with very much comfort, then you can use this normal method of writing down question number on your sheet. Okay. So these are type B questions which you will mark for attempting later. And type C questions are those which should not be attempted at all. I mean, in first 15 to 20 seconds, you read the question, you realize that it is from a topic which I'm not at all comfortable with. I was not able to get this topic, get this anytime so far. And also, this is not a sitter question. I mean, this is not a direct formula based question. You have to reach at least till this point to make a call that it is a type C question and I have to leave it. So without reading, just because the topic you're uncomfortable with, don't leave it. But read the question, identify the topic. Are you comfortable with the topic? Were you getting it right in the past? No? Then maybe you can skip it. Is the question direct formula based? Does it look like so? No? Then skip it. Okay. All right. Beware of negative marking. Very critical point. Because IPM Rohtak contains negative marking, and you have seen that cutoffs are somewhere around at 60% only. So you need not attempt all the questions. Don't just go on an attempting spree. So just attempt the questions which you are fully comfortable with. Random guessing is a strict no-no. But on the other hand, calculated guessing is okay. So what is calculated guessing? You read the question, you identify the topic, maybe you can eliminate a couple of options, and then out of the remaining two, so if you have to take a risk, the chance is 50% as compared to earlier 25%. So 50% risk, still worth it. 25% chances of success, I would say no. Because there is a good chance that rather than getting it right, you will go the other way around, and the total score, whatever you have already achieved, will be reduced further. Okay. Then make best use of section level time limit. So section level time limit of 40 minutes is there. So you can spend entire 40 minutes on English, 40 on reasoning, and 40 on maths. You do not need to worry about that, like NPAT, that I have to spend this much time in this section so that I can give more time to other section. Nothing of that sort is going to happen. It's plain, simple, fixed, 40, 40, 40. That's it. Also, intelligent guessing or wise option elimination is always advisable. So look at the options very carefully. Options will help you in finding certain answers. If at all I'm able to eliminate, let's say, two options by putting one value, then it's still worth. That's okay. So intelligent guessing is still okay and pretty much recommended rather. You should be looking up to it because it will save you some time. Okay. And last but not least, be ready for surprises, because this is only the third year of IPM. and hence the exam pattern has not been established. So whatever we are talking right now is on the basis of previous 2 years question papers, and 2 years is not a long time to make these kind of predictions. So be ready for any kind of surprises that come into your way. Okay. All right. So these are the tips from our side. So I wish everyone all the best for IPM Rohtak 2021. And now, in case you guys have any queries, I'm opening the floor for your questions. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll be answering queries one by one. You can post them now. So, Keshav, what would be a safe score for IPMAT wherein having average interview as well as average 12 score will be good enough? Okay. See, as we are saying that cutoff score is 60%, but if you feel that your interview is going to be average or 12 score is just about average, then maybe you can try for around 70, 75%. See, as much high as you can get, it's good enough. 60% is just about okay, then for a good chance, maybe you can try for 70 to 75%. Right? All right. Will we be provided with calculators? Vasu, on-screen calculators. Should we attempt arrangements? They take a lot of time. Yes, Garvit, I strongly believe that you should be looking out for arrangement kind of questions, because it may take time. But if you are able to do it within 5 minutes, or let's say even if you take 6 minutes and then get 5 questions right by spending those 6 minutes, if you can get 5 questions right with full accuracy, I will still say that it is worth. Okay. Yuvraj, how much should we be scoring in mocks at this stage? Again, the goal that you're having should be to push yourself beyond 60%, and not just beyond 60%, well beyond 60%. Because even though we are assuming that 60% is good enough, but if at all you're able to score 70%, 80%, 90%, automatically your chances of getting the final selection also go up. See, because 60% weightage is from written test. So the more marks you have in written test, better are your chances of final conversion also. Not just the selection for PI, but also in the final selection, it does help. Okay. Should the admit card be printed in black and white or color? Okay. I think that instruction is already there on the admit card, to my knowledge, Keshav. I think they have mentioned for A4 size sheet and a laser printer. Okay, just a second. I think I do have a copy of admit card. Let me just check it once. So, okay, I think they have not mentioned it. Okay, but if they have not mentioned it, then you can take black and white print, because if at all they have not mentioned anything, then you can take a black and white print. Also, ensure that you paste the photograph. So read the instructions very carefully. There are lots of questions and lots of instructions. It's very much in detail, also including the COVID-19 precautions. So do read all of them very carefully. Okay. Acha. Can we come back to the section after the sectional time limit is over? No, Anshika. Once sectional time limit for that particular section is over, you cannot revisit the section. Srimukh, on what basis is the 40% of academics? So they have their set parameters, which they don't disclose very evidently. But your 10th score, as in if it is above 90, you will get these many marks. If it is above 80, you will get these many marks. And same goes for 12th score. If it is above 90, these many marks, above 80, these many marks. Like this, they have set certain criteria based on which they will calculate a profile score for you. And based on that profile score, your 40% in the academics will be considered. Will we be provided with sheets and pen, Karthik? They have given this instruction specifically in the admit card. So what they are saying is sheets will be provided by them, but pen you have to carry your own. I will suggest once again you go through entire list of instructions that will help you clarify all your doubts for this. Vasu, same question. Okay. Is PI-VAT call given only on the basis of aptitude test? Anshika, no, not just basis aptitude test. As I said, partially aptitude test and partially your profile score. But aptitude test contains a larger weightage. So you need to put more focus on it. Okay. All right. Ansh, you are scoring 366 in Rohtak mock, but can't score 120 in Indore mock. Why does that happen? Ansh, have you tried to analyze where exactly are you going wrong? Is it a particular type of questions that you're afraid of, or that you're getting it wrong every time? Have you done in-depth analysis? So I would suggest that you do a comparative analysis of where you're getting right and where you're going wrong. So that comparative analysis will definitely help you. And if you're not able to do it on your own, I would suggest that you book a mentorship slot with one of your mentors, and your mentor will help you in understanding this. Okay. Keshav, you read online that there is a cutoff for 12th percentage as well as 10th percentage. Keshav, yes, but they are just mentioning it as cutoff. Exact details have not been mentioned to my knowledge. So if we get to know about the exact details of these cutoffs, we will definitely let you know. Rough sheet and pen showed an exam hall. Umang, I already answered this. Rough sheets will be provided by them, and pens you have to carry on your own. What about IIM Jammu? Komal, what about it? What is the question that you are having? Shrimuk, it is not best of 3 or something. Shrimuk, if you are talking about the criterias for 40%, acha, no. Then it is no. To my knowledge, it will be a complete average of all the subjects, not just best 3. But again, they have not mentioned this specifically anywhere. So all this is guessing that we are having. In how much maximum time you would say that type A questions in Quant should be attempted so as to have sufficient time for type B ones? Ishita, per type A question, I would say 40 to 45 seconds should be the time limit that you're aiming at. Not beyond that. So if you save time here, then you can spend more time on type B. So 40, 45 seconds or probably 50 seconds is good enough. Okay. LOD of Rohtak is expected to be same as 2019. Yes, Yuvraj, we are expecting it like that, like 2019. Okay. Will there be sectional cutoffs? Komal, again, they haven't mentioned this specifically, so we are not assuming it. So in all probability, sectional cutoffs will not be there. However, official confirmation on it yet remains to be achieved. Okay. Any other doubts that you guys have? So, by the way, the exam is in center, so you guys have to report. I think you guys have been asked to report somewhere around 7 or 7:30. The reporting time is mentioned on your admit cards. So please go through your admit card instructions very carefully. Just go there at the stipulated time only, and no one is going to be allowed in the examination center after 8:30. So please be very careful with the timings. Also, they have mentioned in the admit card that the list of lab number and roll number mapping is not going to be displayed anywhere when you make an entry. So that time, someone will tell you about your lab number or the hall number. So just ensure that you reach there well within time, and so that there is no last minute rush. Okay. 9:30. Okay. Keshav, to my knowledge, the exam timing is 9 to 11. So there were different reporting times that I have seen so far, 7 o'clock, 7:30, and so on. But no one will be allowed in the exam center after 8:30 is what they are mentioning. Yeah. Does VAT take place after or during the exam? Afterwards, not during the exam. So VAT is basically happening for selected candidates, and sorry, at least until the last year, it was happening like this, that VAT used to happen through selection from your from your actual IPM Rohtak test. So we don't need to worry about it right now. Our primary focus should be on getting more and more marks in the written test only. Okay. Do we have VAT this year? Yes. This year, yes. So this year, there is a chance that VAT will not be there, but we will still prepare for it because it will help us in PI also. See, VAT, there are certain topics like essays and all are there. But if you are preparing for it, you will learn about structuring your thoughts, putting it in a putting forward in a very educated and very careful and a neat manner. So that will anyways help you in personal interview. So you should still prepare for it. There is a chance that VAT will not happen this year, but official confirmation again, we'll need to wait for it, because there could be lots and lots of changes because of pandemic. So like first year there were 120 questions, then there were 60, now we are back to 120. So the last point on our tip sheet said, be ready for any surprises that could come in your way. Right? If at all there, then later on. Nishtha, if at all it is there, then later. Okay. Any other questions, queries that you guys have? Do we have to attempt all questions in Quant? No. You do not need to attempt all the questions. Just attempt the questions that you are comfortable with. Don't randomly attempt every question, because that strategy might backfire and you will get into a lot of negative markings. Okay. All right. What will be cut off for Ranchi and Jammu? So for Ranchi and Jammu, as of now, we do not have that data, Dhruv, but I'm sure if you get in touch with our mentors personally, I will ask them to get you that data. All right. Anything else, guys? What are important topics for Quant section? So Quant section, I had already showed you. So Vani, here you go. Read the point number 1. These are the important points in Quant. Okay. Anything else, guys? All right. So thank you so much, guys. So those who are done can leave. If you have any feedback, any suggestion regarding the sessions that we are conducting, please feel free to type it in the chat box. Do visit our YouTube channel, wherein you can watch remaining videos in this series, strategies for various kind of UG exams. And that's it. All the best to you guys. So in case you guys have more questions, I'm still available for another 4-5 minutes, and then we'll end the session. Okay. Okay. Ansh, connect with me on Telegram for this. I'll discuss it with you separately. I hope you have my Telegram ID. Yeah. Thank you so much, Anshika. Thank you. Okay, Ansh, just a second. All right. All right. Thank you so much, Vasu. Any other queries there, or can we end the session here? All right. So thank you so much, guys, and all the best. Hope you all get into your dream colleges. Bye-bye.